What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we put together a video for you real quick. I've been cruising the gun shops over the past few weeks, looking to see what's still available, looking to see what prices are still pretty good, trying to find good firearms that are available for a fairly low price, or even the same price that they were available before all of the political stuff happened and before all of the crisis that America has seen for the past few months. So a lot of new people are buying firearms, and a lot of people are getting into some new guns, but they're finding out the shelves are empty, they're finding out ammunition isn't available, and some of the same rules that we played by before this don't really exist now in a time of crisis or in a time of panic buying. What I've done here is put together some different options for you guys that maybe you haven't thought of. Maybe some routes that you might be able to take if you can't get your classic Glock / 1911 type of stuff. Maybe there are some options out there that I've seen that are in my local gun shops available that people haven't considered. So before I do the video, I want to mention my patron supporters. Thank you guys very much. It's because of you that I get guns like this on the channel, and it's because of you that my channel is even still here. I've been demonetized and deleted both this year, and I've been reinstated, and I appreciate that, but it was because of you guys that I had the ability to still get firearms on the channel. So I appreciate you guys supporting my channel. I appreciate you guys having my back, and because of that, we do some cool exclusive content over on the Patreon page, and I do try to answer all your questions. If you want to join Patreon, all you got to do is go down to the link in the description of the video. There'll be a link there. All you got to do is click and sign up. Also in that description, there will be a link to a local homeless shelter in Ames, Iowa that I really like to support. It's a youth shelter, and those kids could use your support now more than ever, so I'd really appreciate it, even before the Patreon, if you go down there and donate to those kids. They could use your help. We'll go through them in no particular order. So these aren't ordered 10 to 1. I might probably put some of the ones that I think are higher value towards the end, but they're all gonna be for different purposes. When you're looking to buy a firearm, the first thing you're gonna wanna consider is what you're gonna use it for overall. If you're gonna want to get a concealed carry gun, you're probably not gonna want an AK. So we're gonna give you some different options for some different things. So let's start off with 22 here. So 22 is kind of a weird one. For some ammo scarcities, 22 is not available. Sometimes it is. Sometimes your region dictates what ammunition is available. As far as 22 goes, this is the best 22 pistol that I've seen in a long time. This is the Taurus TX 22. This was phenomenal in my review, and I think that everywhere I've gone so far, they've still been available. 22 may not be available in your local stores, but a lot of you for sure have 22 stockpiles. And if you're looking for a new 22 pistol during this crisis, I think the TX 22 really fits the bill. Sub $400 gun, very reliable, very accurate, and comes with tons of features already that a lot of 22s on the market do not. Comes with a couple of different magazines, really good trigger, very accurate, and adjustable sights. One of those guns that's really easy to take out during the day and just kind of have some fun with. When ammunition is so expensive like it is currently right now, you don't want to have to think about your pocketbook every time you go to the range, especially like me. Shooting at the range is kind of a stress reliever, kind of get into the moment and just have some fun. And you can't have that much fun when you're blowing $30 a shot. So 22 is still relatively affordable, still relatively available, and this is a real fun gun to shoot. So if you want to go out and just work on your marksmanship, first off, if you're trying to get better at shooting, you have to remember that a lot of these things you can do with dry fire, some of those things you can't do. If you want to work on malfunction clearances, if you want to work on gun manipulation, reloads, draws, all that stuff, you can do all that stuff with no ammunition. A couple things you can't work on are going to be recoil management and marksmanship. And one thing a 22 really helps out with is marksmanship, just focusing on that trigger pull and having feedback from those targets that you're not going to be able to get with dry fire. You can get that with a 22, and I think this is a really good, affordable, reliable, and accurate way to go about that. So if you're looking for a squirrel gun, you're looking for maybe your kid's first gun, you're looking maybe your first gun, maybe your wife's first gun, something like that, somebody who's recoil sensitive, that wants a good, reliable gun that's affordable, that has ammunition available, the TX22 is a good way to go. We'll get into a competition pistol now. These I've actually seen available, and these I've actually been recommending when I'm walking around in my local shop and people are asking me about them. This gun kind of blew my hair back this year. This is the Canik SFX. We just recently did a 1,000-round review. You see a couple of versus videos on this coming up in the future on the channel as well. So this gun comes in for around the $500 to $700 mark depending on where you buy it, and it comes with all the features you're gonna need race ready. So if you wanna run USPSA Carry Optics Division, it comes with plates available. You can put any kind of red dot you want on there. I got the RMR sitting on there right now, but you can run budget optics, Bushnell, anything you want you can run on there. It comes with 3 magazines with base plates, makes it easy to reload. It's got the slide lightning cuts there, not only make it look real cool, but very functional. Full 5-inch barrel, helps you get that velocity and accuracy. And it has one of the best triggers in the market. For the price that it is, you're not gonna find a better competition gun than this gun right here. This is the lowest priced competition gun that I would absolutely recommend you going out there and running. Trigger is absolutely amazing. I have no problem hitting it over 100 yards with this gun. So for the money, it's great. Accuracy, reliability, all great, but on top of that, the gun is available. Everywhere I've gone, I've been through a few different states in the past few months, there has been one of these sitting in a gun shop. So if you're looking for an accurate, reliable home defense gun, good way to go. You can throw a light on it with the rail. But mostly, I think most people are going out and they're running Steel Challenge, they're running IPSC, they're running IDPA or USPSA, or even 3-gun. This would be a great 3-gun choice as well. So if you're looking for an overall competition gun, this is a good way to go. If you're looking for a home defense gun or even a carry gun, it's also very lightweight, coming at around 28 ounces or so. So it's a good do-it-all gun, and for the money, man, hard to beat. 1911. This is an Ed Brown, but we're going to use it to simulate some guns like maybe the Colt Competition or the Rock Island, 2 of which I've previously reviewed that I don't currently have. If you're looking for a 1911, I think those 2 are really good options, particularly because they're in 45. And that's important. I like to run a lot of 9mm 1911s. However, 9mm is not actually available in a lot of the stores that even I go into, and I live in rural Iowa, so I can't imagine what it's like in California or New York. I've heard stories from my friends, but what is available often is 45. And 45 just happens to be the caliber that almost all 1911s are chambered in, and 1911's a great gun. So if you see a Rock Island or a Colt at your local store, and you're not really sure if you want to get into the 1911, I'm telling you, give it a shot. Not only reliable, but they're the most accurate pistol on the planet. It is just what it is. Single action only design with a manual safety. So if you like manual safeties, you like grip safeties, this is a really good way to go, especially for first time shooters, first time carriers. A lot of those guys love the manual safety and the grip safety, and a 1911 comes equipped with all that. Removable grips, you can change the hand size if you want, and the Rock Island comes in around 500 bucks, Colt comes in around 700 bucks. And if you want to go a little up from there, those Springfields are also available. I found that was pretty funny. We went to Chicago, and I just happened to be going through there a few months ago, and the only things that were available in all of Bass Pro Shop were 1911s and revolvers. So 1911 has been around for 100 years. It's served very well. It served in our military for pretty close to 100 years, and I gotta tell you, the reliability, the accuracy, and the reputation speaks for itself. If you're running through and you're looking at all the polymer frame Wonder guns, well, that's normally great, but if they're not available, a 1911 will serve you very well. So if you're looking for a gun and that's all you can afford, trust me, they're gonna work. Speaking of revolvers, this is a Smith & Wesson 686. Pretty much everywhere I've went, revolvers have been available. People don't like revolvers anymore. I understand that semi-automatics have a lot of pros over revolver. However, for self-defense, for home defense, for concealed carry, all those are applicable tasks for a revolver. A revolver has enough rounds. They even make 8-round revolvers these days. This is a 6-round 357 Magnum. On top of it being available, it's also affordable. Even Smith & Wesson 686 is coming in around $600 to $800 mark. Pretty common for guns these days, especially during the crisis. On top of that, they are going to have available ammunition almost everywhere I've went. 357 and 38 Special have been available. You can also run 38 plus P in these. So 3 different types of ammunition, 1 gun. If you go to any gun store, you're going to be able to find at least defensive ammunition for 357, I would well think. Even if you don't know a lot about firearms, a revolver is relatively easy to operate, mostly because of movies. If you've ever seen any action movie of any kind or any TV show, you've most likely anyway, seen somebody open up a cylinder, drop a couple of rounds and close it, and that is how a revolver works. Very easy. All you do is open it, manually load it, and pull the trigger. There's no safety and there's no magazine to worry about, and overall, very simple, very easy design. Still definitely a formidable home defense tool today, and affordable and available. So if you're looking into a home defense gun, I would seriously take a look at revolvers. There's not a long learning curve to learn how to shoot them, and they're very effective. Now we're getting real old school. This is one of my favorite guns. I shouldn't say this in general, but this platform. This is actually the most budget-minded lever action I have. And I actually feature lever actions on my channel frequently in my top 5 videos because people just forget about them. They forget that these things were effective years ago and they're effective right now. This one is chambered in 38 Special and 357 Magnum. However, it's common for lever actions to be chambered in a whole bunch of different rounds that are available right now. 44 Special, 44 Mag, 30-30, are just to name a few that I have chambered in personally. So it's chambered in and available ammunition, and on top of that, it's legal in almost every state. So if you live in New York, you live in California, you live in Connecticut, and there's lots of laws that apply to guns like an AK, for example, they usually don't apply to lever actions. The difference between a lever action and a semi-auto is simply that you have to rack the action manually. Similar to a pump action, if you're familiar with a pump, all you're really doing is running the action, throwing out the empty round, and putting in a new round. It has a tubular magazine underneath the barrel here, very easy to load. Depending on the model, you either open up the top of it and load it down like a Henry, or on the Rossies and the Winchesters, you have it right here on the receiver, which I actually prefer. It's easier to top off load and things like that. So I like lever actions because they are practical, they're easy to shoot. If you're not familiar with firearms, more points of contact is always better. One hand here, shoulder here, face here, just makes it easy to shoot intuitively as opposed to a handgun. So if you're new to firearms, maybe get yourself into a rifle, maybe get yourself into a lever action. They don't look super formidable, so a lot of people are not gonna be scared of them like they are at AR-15 AK. And on top of that, I mean, you could hang this thing under mantelpiece. This thing was $500, and it is a beautiful rifle from Rossi here. This is actually, I believe Rossi is made in Brazil, but I do have some original Winchesters and some original Henrys also. So not only they look really cool, they are really practical. I mean, you're talking 17 plus rounds downrange of 44 Magnum or 357 Magnum. That's gonna do any job that you're gonna need. On top of that, available in every store that I've seen still. Takes a available ammunition. On top of that, legal in almost every state. So if you're looking for a home defense gun and you can't seem to find one, maybe you look over to the lever action rack, and I'm sure that it takes a little practice on learning how to use them, and I have the advantage of being a country boy, so I grew up shooting these damn things. This actually, the first rifle I ever shot was a Henry 22 lever action, and it was the first gun my dad ever bought for me. So I have a deep-seated love for lever actions, and I still think they're very practical today. Next gun we're going to talk about is probably the most popular gun in the United States, or at least pretty close. This is actually a Remington 870 pump action shotgun. In the land of semi-automatic rifles, the pump action shotgun seems to be forgotten. However, for practical purposes, particularly during the crisis, not only are these available, but they're super cheap and they are super formidable. This is actually in 20 gauge. I didn't bring out any of my 12 gauges because I actually wanted to talk about 20 gauge. So 12 gauge doesn't seem to be available in some stores, but I haven't seen a store that didn't have 20 gauge. 20 gauge does seem a little bit smaller by comparison to 12 gauge, however, very formidable. If you fire a buckshot out of a 20 gauge shotgun, the average buckshot load is about 6 45 ACP hitting at the same time. You're gonna get tons of kinetic energy out of this. This will kill anything in North America. I mean, if a bear breaks in your house, you're gonna be okay. So overall, this gun I got originally for about 200 bucks. I see them going now for about $300 to $400. Remington 870s and Mossberg 500s are gonna be the cheapest and most reliable form of pump action shotgun. I would suggest a 20 gauge. They're easy to shoot. If you can shoot a 12 gauge fast, you can shoot a 20 gauge faster. Easy to use. This one has a 5 to 7 round magazine tube, depending on if you want to run the extra 2 round thing. If you want to change the stock, if you want to add a magazine holder or an ammunition holder, if you want to change out the pistol grip, which I have done to put a weapon light on, if you want to buy sights for it, every gun shop in the country is going to have accessories and they're going to have ammunition for a pump action shotgun. So if you're looking for a home defense gun exclusively that you could also use for hunting or a number of different things, clay shooting 3-gun, this is a good way to go, and it's a real easy way to get a good, trustworthy home defense gun on a budget. Now we got the Beretta APX. This was actually a really cool pistol that I reviewed this year. This is Glock M&P quality. That is another gun that's really forgotten about. This was put into the military trials. I found this to be more reliable than almost any other gun that we've shot on the channel for the price. I've seen these guns still during the crisis for $300 to $400. This is the Beretta APX Centurion, so this is Glock 19 size, comes with 3 magazines, 9mm or 40 cal. 40 cal has been available a lot lately. You can still find 9mm if you're looking for it. So if you're looking for a semi-automatic pistol that you can concealed carry, or you can just shoot as an all-around pistol, this is not only a good size, but a great choice. This did really well in the military trials. If it's good enough for the military, I bet it's good enough for you. On top of that, we did a 1,000-round review through this. On top of that, we've compared this since then to several other pistols much higher in its class, like the SIG P320, M18, M17, and this pistol really excelled. I have seen this available in lots of the gun stores that I've seen for similar prices that they were before, I think because they're not very popular. But I'm here to put the word out. This is a great gun. It is available. It has good texture. It's super accurate, low recoil and pulse, and on top of that, it has a chassis system in it, which I find very cool. Makes it very modular. So if you are in a state, let's say, where you can't buy a lot of guns, you could buy this Beretta APX, you could buy another frame and another slide, and you could take that module out, put it in a different gun, and you won't have to worry about that 90-day waiting period or something like that. So overall, I think it's very modular, very reliable, very accurate, good size, good weight, and overall trustworthy, especially for that price. This is the SAR 2000. I got this for around 400 bucks at my local gun shop. I've seen these available in a lot of different places. This is a double single action design. This is a CZ clone from Turkey. What this allows you to do is get into a steel framed high capacity gun that you can shoot real quick, and it is very reliable, all for about $400. So if you're looking at a CZ75, you don't want to pay that $700, $800 or even $1,200 price tag, you can get you one made from Turkey for a lot less. The SAR 2000 has a very good reputation, comes with removable rubber grips, good combat sights, good trigger, and a manual safety. So overall, I think it's a lot of gun for the money. If you wanted to get into a quick competition gun or get into a solid, reliable home defense gun, for $400 you can have this guy and you can get right into that. I really like this gun myself. I've been shooting it earlier today, believe it or not, and I think that it deserves a spot on this list, especially considering it's reliable, available, affordable, and overall a clone of one of my absolute favorite platforms you get into for a little bit less. Next up, we have the M&P 2.0. So the M&P 2.0 is a gun that I have glorified on this channel, and for a reason. Made by an American company, as reliable, as durable as Glock, H&K, any of the pistols out there, this will absolutely hang with. This thing has won world titles, it's carried by law enforcement and military, and overall I think it's one of the better guns out there you can get for the money. I've seen these anywhere from $300 to $500. Comes with great texturing, pretty good trigger, good sights, front or rear slide serrations and front, Picatinny rail, pretty much everything you need for a do-it-all pistol this M&P 2.0 compact will do. On top of that, you can buy some aftermarket accessories for it, like an Apex or a sighting system of your type. They come optics ready as well if you want that. This is one of the first generations, so that was before they had it. And magazines and accessories are all going to be available at your local gun shop. You want a holster? Good to go. You want ammunition for it? Good to go. Comes in not only 9mm, but 40, 45, and I believe 10mm as well. So any type of caliber that you want, you can get out of this gun, and they still are available. So if you go into a gun store, you're looking for a Glock, they don't have a Glock, you look for an HK or a PPQ, they don't have those, I bet they have the M&P, and the M&P not only can hang with it, but does have some extra features on top of it that in my opinion makes it in some ways superior. So they're affordable, available, and definitely an alternative to your average Glock or H&K that I would absolutely recommend. Before we get to number one, we're going to do a few honorable mentions here, just because we happen to have them on the table. One of those is going to be single action pistols. So this is my Taylor & Co. It is a copy of a Colt single action, which is one of my all-time favorite guns, case hardened with the cool ass wood grips, a gun I shoot a lot off the channel. However, one of the things I don't like about it is I don't consider it a perfect home defense gun, just because you have to cock the hammer and work it every time, as opposed to something like a double action pistol where you can just keep pulling the trigger. So I think it's a little bit of a liability when it comes to defense. However, if you get good with it, you can operate it very, very quickly. Nice thing about it is they've been available everywhere I've seen, and it still has all the same pros as the Smith & Wesson, whereas you can use multiple different types of ammunition. They come in 45 Colt, 357, virtually any caliber you can think of, you can get this gun in. So if you're looking for a good old school gun and you want something a little bit less complicated and has a real cool look to it, this is a really good choice. You can get these for around $500, and like I said, are available. I want to mention the AK. This is actually not an AK, this is a VZ58, but it's the closest thing to I have an AK currently. I've seen a bunch of AKs available right now if you're looking for an AR and you can't find one. Either that or if you're looking into a Ruger AR that used to be $500, now it's $1,200. AKs haven't seemed to jump up in price too much, especially American-made ones. Overall, the AK is pretty hard to mess up, so even if you get a budget version of it, most of the time they're pretty reliable. Many accessories and ammunition is the key with the AK. If you can't find 223, I bet you can get a spam cam of 7.62. So if you don't know this, surplus ammunition for the AK platforms, whether it be 7.62 or 5.45, have been available for a really long time. They're going a little up in price, but I've definitely still seen a ton of them. So if you're looking to get into the a semi-automatic rifle game, an AK might be the way to go. However, those have jumped up a little in price. That's why we kind of gave it an honorable mention. Also want to mention a super weird gun, the FK Bruno. This is the PDS, I believe. PDS. This is a gun that is multi-calibers. You can change it to 10mm, 40, or 9mm. Multiple guns that do this, all of those can be on this list. However, it's kind of cool to have a gun where you can have a bunch of different calibers in case you just may not be able to find one. And it's also just a real cool gun. If you haven't seen the first shots of this video, go check it out. My number one gun is going to be, not a surprise, but it's going to be probably the Taurus G series. This is the Taurus G3C. This is actually a gun that just recently came out. However, I do also recommend the G3 and the G2C. All those guns have been available in every gun store I've seen, and I think because it's got Taurus on the side, most people avoid it. I understand that. They have had a reputation of making sort of shoddy guns for years. The G series is an exception. I have 1,000-round reviews of multiple of these guns. I actually have 2 of the G3Cs. They've done reliability testing, and they've just really improved the overall quality of the gun and brought to you to a very reasonable price. These are $300 out the door in most gun shops right now, and they have a good trigger. They are very accurate. They are a striker-fired polymer frame pistol, lightweight, good size for an all-around pistol. If you're looking for a carry gun and you want to get out the door for 300 bucks, this is about the only way that I would really recommend. They are reliable, they are durable, they are available, and overall just a phenomenal gun with good features like Glock sights. So if you want to change out the sights, you don't like them, you can change them out. They have a manual safety here that you can choose to ignore or use. They've got a light rail as well. So if you just want one gun, you want to take this guy out of the purse, put a light on it, use it for a home defense weapon, definitely doable. Overall, I think that if you're looking for a budget pistol, either this or the APX would be the way that I go. If you're looking for a budget home defense gun and you're not looking for a pistol, I would recommend a lever action rifle or a pump action shotgun. So that kind of simplifies it for you a little bit. If you go on pump action shotgun route, I'd go Remington 870 Mossberg. If you're going for a lever action, I would look at Rossi Hard. I mean, they are cheap and they are very reliable. Hope that helps you guys out in your buying choices, especially during this crisis. Helps you out with the ammo crisis, helps you out with the firearm crisis a little bit. It gives you a little bit more options than you would have had otherwise. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your Oklahoma shelters and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.